This is what I'm really excited about. This is what we what is this? I think it might be, oh, I can't remember the name. It's a skimmia. It's a white berried skimmia, but look at them. Look how perfect they are. Oh. That alone is a reason to grow skimmia. You know, look at that. That is just going to look perfect in a wreath. And again, this bit here, let's try and do 2 jobs in one and just prune it in a way that you can look at it and go, oh, that looks a bit tidier in the garden. It just looks an absolute picture, don't it? And then we'll turn this into a wreath. You start with having an idea of what you want to make, and in my head it all started with this blue Christmas tree. First thing you got to do is have a ring, moss ring. You can get these 2 for a penny anywhere. And just put all of our bits just to one side, give us space. You need florist wire. You can buy these in most places. Amazon sell these. Amazon sell the rings as well, and then just, you know, go out and steal some moss off the moors or somewhere, you know. No, I'm joking, you can't do that. Okay, so my belief with wreath making, the principle is it's all about making, and it's simple, I think. You make a nice bunch in your hand and then you just place it at the right angle on your wreath. So size is important as well. So 1 second it is. So again, I want these bits here, and these will be, and this is quite stiff, heavy, and it's quite big, so I need to be careful with this. And also just if you place it and just have a little play. So again, so there. Right, so that's the base. And for me, every single bunch will have this base, this foundation. And then what usually I'll get 10 bunches in this sort of wreath. So again, I'm gonna just have a play and see what works before I even do anything. So that might be a bit heavy, but if I drop it down a little bit. So all I'm doing is literally just trying to make a pretty bunch in my hand. Trim a bit off there. I want some of this, you know, and this, you can just play around with it. It's all about, can you see how the bunch is forming? And then maybe a different texture here. So that would look better behind. You see how you can just change it and mix it up constantly until you get what looks like some sort of nice bunch in your hand. I don't know why, but I always just trim the bottom. So, oh, this is quite nice. Right, really important. Sometimes less is more. So you don't want to overdo it. You see, I might just, this might not stay in. It could be the bit that really makes a beauty. There you go. Oh, I quite like that. Okay, so that's one bunch, and now I'll remember that bunch. So blue Christmas tree, laurel, this leylandii, holly, and then this Azara, and I'll remember that bunch because I'm going to repeat that. But the next bunch I'm going to do differently, and I'll alternate between just 2 bunches for that sort of. It's just how I do it for that sort of continuity, you know, that sort of running theme throughout it. You know, already this is looking a little bit yellower than what I was hoping for, but it'll still look absolutely spot on. Just trying to get rid of some of these brown pine needles and just give them a whack. They'll fall out. Again, so we've got our blue base. There we go. Right, so we did that laurel last time. Less is more. Let's mix it up with something else now. Let's put in this stuff. maybe a touch of that. So again, these are smaller, broader leaves, or sometimes it's nice to have the littler leaves poking out of the broader leaved stuff. Just wrap that in like that. Now, the decision... No, right. I'm going to put this down to one side. See how you can always change your mind about things and adjust as you go on and as you're doing the creative side of things. I just want that, you know. And I didn't. Again, it's always changing. You can just sneak him in like that. Now, I will say, once I've put these two bunches in, I'm trying to do that less is more thing is a real thing. So now, after this bunch, there will be no difference. It will be that bunch alternating with this bunch all the way around. Because it will just, you need that sort of repetition and theme going all the way around, I think. Again, it's about what you like, you know. I'm making this because I like the looks of this. Anyone else doing it, I would say just do it to how you want to do it, you know. It's all personal preference, isn't it? But I want to get across like how easy this is to do. I mean, there's a lot going on in this bunch, but you know, we've been quite luxurious. You know, with this amount of foliage, you should really be able to get loads of... Oh, look at that. And again, you can always play with things. I've always got my fingers like that and my thumb like that, and I can just take out, put in, adjust. You know, if that was like, you know, if I'd put it down like that, I would just go, no. I'm holding it tight always, and I'm just slipping that bit of that berry there, and then I can just have it like that sticking out. So it's like the skimmia, you know, is a part of the holly. Again, as I'm putting this bunch down onto the wreath, as my fingers come off there, I squeeze the wreath, I place my thumb down tight, and then I get my wire. And I do this backwards to a lot of people, but it's just how I do it. So I've got my wire tight, and I'll pull it. Once you've got that first pull on it, and it's really tight, I always do a second one, and then pull again. That I can let go now, that won't go anywhere. Just 2 turns. Yeah, we did holly. No, ivy, sorry. We did holly in front of that. And then we did that. Yes, that's what we did. As you get further around the wreath, you'll be more... It's nice, ain't it?
Beautiful.
Told you I'm fucking good at this. And then, right, we go here again. This is our constant sort of base, you know. I've had this in my head for ages, do you know what I mean? Like, and you know when you just got that creative idea and you need to like just get it down or make it. And I hope everyone has that. So again, I'll just prune it up like that. This foliage here, that there, and then this Azara. There we go. You know what? You think you got loads of foliage, and then you actually start getting into it, and then it starts going down. You're like, oh no, did I get enough? There we go. Make sure we repeat our pattern. So I think I'm gonna have to get some more Skimmia. You've actually made something that, you know, you've created and you've gifted to someone. So I'm gonna have to get some more foliage, I think, at some point. So we did that. Is the ivy on? Yes. This is my problem, is I just forget what is going on. And this, I tell you what, this makes it, doesn't it? They look like little gold jewels. And that's ivy, man. Do you know what I mean? Ivy grows everywhere. So again, I just want to try and show that ivy off. So I'm going to try and adjust it in a way. You've always got control over this because it's always between your thumb and fingers. Sometimes you have to give it just a little bend. You know, it's not working. There we go. You can adjust things and starts coming together, don't it? After you're like halfway round, it all starts, you know. But what have we used? We've used laurel, which is, you know, we've used blue, pine. These aren't expensive plants. Again, the best time to plant was yesterday, because then you'll have this material to harvest during these months quicker. That's what I always think. You know, a wreath like this, I would be half tempted not to put any picks in it, to be honest, because again, less is more sometimes, and you're just gonna hide all the beautiful foliage we've got here. Look at all the different textures. Why would you don't need to put any, no plastic, all organic. This, and I'm sure this is how they would have done it as well. So again, a lot of this piney stuff is covered in pine needles. Knock it off. Nice clean wreaths. And again, it's all about your bunches. So you've got to make a nice bunch, and that starts in your hand, you know. Always starts in your hand. And then we go laurel. Again, that I'm not happy with, so I'll just take that leaf off. You know, I'm not. There we go. Yeah, there. Take that off. Fan it a little bit. And this is where it counts. Do you know what I mean? If this in your hand doesn't look right, it's not going to look right in the wreath. And so you just got to remember that when you're making it, the wreath is made in your hand, and all you're doing is transferring that onto the canvas here. So yeah, we're going to finish off. This will be perfect. I'll skim you out. Boris, Hamish. So that leaves just our last bunch there then. So Hamish. So we've got a foundation. I think this has made it as well, you know. I think the marbled laurel, that and the holly, which are like really cheap plants. And then this variegated box sort of looking thing. I mean, it's all looking nice. I'm tempted to. I want the best one. Yeah, so might even just stick in two. There we go. Trim the bottom so he fits in. Right, this is the last bunch. This is where it can get a bit tricky. So you've got to lift up here, and then at an angle, slide him in, and then with your wire, going underneath your first bunch, over the top of your last bunch. And this is a pain. This is a pain. And then choose the table. Again, you can always adjust. Once I've got this, look here, my hand underneath the table. Now that I've got that first turn, I've got my tension. I've got that bunch. So on top here, I can move things around before almost like cementing it into place. And so I've just one little tweak there. And then I'll come around here again. Wires are a lot easier to get through. And just try, I don't want it to affect the first bunch. There we go. And then pull tight. Pull tight but have control. There we go. Right, now once we're here, I'll pull tight against there, thumb on there, pull out real, cut that, and then it's just a case of one tight. Two, that's all you need. There you go. And you got your wreath. Sound.